your back, and you know where we at. Got the thing in my grass, and we living life fast. And I put that on the dub, motherfuckers can't hang. What you want, what you talk, what you at for the game.
Yo, what's poppin'? Welcome back to the Never Enough Game podcast, man. We back with another one. We got my boy Flox right here.
Man,
we got Lil Seti.
Let's go.
You already know what the fuck it is. We back in this thing. Whoa, that made a loud ass sound. But yeah, man, what's up with y'all?
Just the mics, man. Just the mics.
How is
it sound cool. Let's go.
We'll start with you, Flox.
Alright.
How was your week, dog?
A week, man. This motherfucker's been longer than a week, but god damn, man, I'm not gonna lie. It's been crazy. It's been crazy like a motherfucker. I could say that shit. It hasn't been fucking. That shit's been hard like a motherfucker. Motherfuckers went to. Motherfuckers been in jail. They fucking been going through up and downs. Fucking going through hella shit, bro. Damn, like I could say it hasn't been easy. We've been going through some shit with the businesses. Right now, the main thing is letting people into my life, you feel me, that they don't deserve to be in my life type of shit. Like people that don't even belong in that shit. So I have to be careful with that shit. And then the business went down the hill, but it's cause I was not really focused on that shit. I was focused on hella other stuff. And then from there I took my eyes off the ball. Well, me and my brother, we took the eyes off the ball, and then you get distracted. That shit went to a crazy ass fucking spiral, and then we just barely started like, man, fuck that, we can't let nobody distract shit that we got going on right now. So we had to do what we had to do. We had to tell some motherfuckers like, hey man, we had to turn that shit around. We had to tell some people like, hey, you know what? It's better to have fewer people in a company, right? Okay, so if you have too much people, it's like that 80-20% rule. 20% of the people are doing most of the work. That's like in fitness too. Let's say you have 20% fucking muscle. You want to get 80. You want to get rid of 80%.
Dog, can you pass the goddamn story over
I'm gonna
here?
pass it right now.
You're just going on for a hell long. They just asked you like keep it short and concise,
okay,
man.
Right, go ahead.
God damn.
It's all right, dog. It's all right.
No,
He's been through a lot. Go ahead, get it off your chest, dog.
Yeah, I've been through a lot. Come on. All right, so look. Basically, we had to cut down a lot of shit, and we've been on this shit. I'm gonna pass it to my brother because this motherfucker wants to get.
No, I'm just saying, like, bro, just shorten it up.
So we'll get to that, but just like basically, this past week, how was your past week, my boy?
Or even a month, but just shorten that bitch up.
Yeah, nah, it's because you can't shorten a month up. That motherfucker's been long.
I'm gonna show you how much short.
What about your last week? How was your last week, dog? Like
last week, bro, I've been focused like a motherfucker. I've been working out like a motherfucker, bro. I've been really on my therapy shit. I've been doing nonstop that, reading books. I've been reading hella books. I'm gonna pop up some notes right now on my phone. I just didn't want to do that shit in front of that shit. But I've been reading hella books. I've been having a different mindset. But I'll let this fool say what he got to say right now.
Oh yeah, that's what's up, my boy.
Yay.
What's up, Seti? Your turn.
So man, dog, like this fool said, been going through hella crazy ass shit this last month. That's why we haven't been doing this shit. But you know what? I can say we're on point, dog. Sometimes it takes a lot of fucked up shit to happen to make you just focus on what you need to focus on, dog. So even though, nigga, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie, motherfucker went to, I took a lot of fucking fucked up L's.
Say all that.
Mm-hmm. And by me taking these L's, bro, it just made me get really ready for the W, you feel me? That's all I can say. It made me stop looking at the distractions and just start focusing on everything. And to be honest, I haven't felt this clear-minded or clear-headed ever.
You drinking right now? Or
I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'll drink here or there, but really not like that.
Not like you used to.
Not at all, bro. I don't even smoke weed anymore. I just work out all the time.
That should make your mind clear, right?
Yeah, definitely. You know what? What it is about the weed is not that it makes your mind clearer. Well, it does, but also it's just
We
gets
don't make your mind clear. You mean when you're not smoking, it makes it clear.
No, I'm saying it's not so much that it makes your mind clearer. It's just that you're just more focused. You don't get what it is it makes you lazy. So weed, what it does a lot of times is it makes you lazy. It makes you comfortable with not having shit or not even being motivated to get more. So what I can say this last month has been fucked up, circumstances outside, but inside, mentally, fucking dope, bro. I haven't been this motivated or strong-minded in hella long. So that's what's been going on, bro. Honestly, it's like if I can compare it to anything, it's like when you're in prison or when you're in jail, right? The type of mindset that you have is like you cut off from all vices, and what you're doing is like you're working out all the time. I'm just what I'm trying to say. So you cut off from all vices. You're working out all the time. You're just reading books. You're just gaining knowledge. And sometimes in prison, some people are at their best. And then they would get released and they start doing drugs and they turn into tweakers and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So what I could say is...
options. Too much options and motherfuckers don't know how to pick the right option. Well,
no, I mean, I'm saying I feel like I'm in... No, because... You got a lot of options right now, you know, and I'm saying like I got a lot of options right now, but I'm living like if I'm in prison, you know, that's how my focus, my mentality is right now. So what about you, Silent? What's been going on with you?
That's what's up. Well, shit, with me, my last week hasn't been too crazy at all. I've just been going through a lot of changes at my job and shit, so I'm getting ready to start taking some more leadership classes and just things that's gonna help me fucking better serve the people I'm working for. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. For one, I might be going to Virginia.
What type of changes?
Huh?
What type of changes?
Just shit I don't really want to like put out there because it's personal. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But basically, I'm a part of a bigger organization now.
Oh,
so they bought the company I was working for. So I'm just basically
that should be happening a lot.
I'm getting ready to start doing things the way that they want it to be done. So things are going to be changing. I might be going to Virginia. I'm not sure yet.
Nah, that's what they said.
Yeah, I mean it's all on what they see fit for me. Like I might go or I might not. It just depends on if they see that that's where I need to go.
If the money's there, if I'm with.
Nah, not even. Or it's the money to me is the knowledge I'm gonna gain. Of course, I'm probably still gonna get paid, but like I'm more into like what I can learn. Like what can I gain like mentally.
They're gonna give you like a different position, like
No, I'm still doing warehouse manager shit, but I'm hoping that I could be like a regional manager or something like that. What's that? I just somebody who oversees multiple warehouses.
Okay.
So basically in the West Coast, so California, maybe Vegas or wherever. I'm thinking big, so who knows? I might move somewhere else and go to the field or whatever. I'm just trying to fill out what's going to be right for me, but right now that's what I want to do.
Virginia, god damn, where the fuck is that?
It's training, fool. It's just for training. I'm not moving there to stay there.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, nah, Virginia.
Nah, Virginia's hella far.
Yeah, it's for training, fool.
Yeah. Nah, that's dope, my boy.
But yeah, that's it with me.
In your job, bro, so look, in the business, what I started doing like in the business is I started like revamping everything, right? So what I noticed is like when you don't have a lot of distractions, right, you'll really accomplish anything. You'll start coming up with ideas that you never came up before. So I started reading a lot of books and shit like that, and what I noticed is like I'm doing more sales books and I'm really getting into I started learning a lot of shit like how to influence people, right? And one of the things that I realized is influence is pretty difficult, bro. You know what I'm saying? And the difference between influence and manipulation is really just intent, right? If you want somebody to do something bad, then you're manipulating him. If you want to influence somebody to do something good, then you're going to influence him. But it's really the same shit. Mm-hmm. And where you work at, how do you? Because sometimes I'm sure you got people you got to try to tell them what to do, this and that. How do you influence them?
I think it's leading by example. So you can't always tell people to do something if they don't understand how it's supposed to be done. For example, if somebody doesn't understand what a certain product is, right, and they keep fucking it up, and I'm like, hey, why you keep messing this up? You know, it's supposed to be this, this, and that. I would grab them and walk over there and be like, look, this is the product. This is what comes with the product. All of these things have to come together to make one unit. You don't just give this piece and think that it's complete. You need to grab A, B, and C, show them it complete. These three components make one unit. This is the product. And then, because sometimes it's just one piece that they're messing up on. So I go over there, I show them, and bam. And then after that, they're just like, okay, and then they catch on. Or I pop up, and I'm just like, hey, what's going on? Like, we got orders to do, or what's up? I see it's kind of slow right now. And then I'll tell my lead, the guy who's my right-hand man, I'll be like, hey, I need you to make sure these guys are busy. Make sure they're not standing around, because when it's time for you to be where I'm at, you're going to have to be doing the same thing. So it's about teaching, but then also giving them a vision, a goal. You don't want to just be telling people what to do and then like they're just thinking they're robots, basically. Like you're just here to work. I like also giving people goals. So like, you see what I'm doing? I'm coming out here, I'm telling you what to do. If this looks a little bit more relaxed to you and this looks like something that you would like to do, this could be yours. But I need you to make sure that the people under you can take your spot. So that way you could take my spot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Probably the biggest is communication. Never expect that somebody's supposed to do something the way that you think they're supposed to do it, even if it sounds stupid. Communication is the biggest thing, and I feel like sometimes people think communication is too overrated, and they think that sometimes things are common sense to people. But then when you get into a conversation with them and you ask them if they've ever talked to somebody about certain things, on what their expectations are for things, some of them are like, well, nah, they should know that. But yeah, you always got to break it down to people.
What do you think?
There's a lot of things that got to do with influence and persuasion. There's a lot of things like I mean, that book that you're saying, like How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah, I didn't talk about the book, but I'm just saying, how would you influence somebody?
You have to give them options. Like, okay, boom, they say I'm trying to influence you. I'll be like, okay, I want you to do this. You don't directly say you want them to do that. You give them options. Like, hey, for instance, if you do this, this and this and this, you have to give them the option. This might happen, or this might happen, and you give them the options. All I'm telling you, that decision or that thing is bad. That thing is bad. You can't force them to do anything. You have to make them realize. You have to make it. You can't teach a man. You can't teach a man nothing. You have to make him find it inside himself. Make him feel like he made a decision himself. So you have to steer him in that direction without him even knowing. So if I don't want him to do that, you put like something here, or any type of situation you don't want him to do that. Be like, look, all I'm gonna tell you is this is really bad. Like, this is bad. This is a bad situation. Don't do it because of this reason. And then you give them the reasons, but don't force it. Don't try to threaten somebody. Don't try to threaten somebody, because they're gonna want to do even more. It's like, keep your hand out of the cookie jar. Motherfuckers want to eat that cookie type of shit. You can't do that type of shit. You have to try to. That's more persuading. That's more persuading. But there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things to it. What would you say were some things?
All right, so I've been reading a lot of sales books, right? And as I was reading these sales books, I've been constantly dealing with influence, and you can't. What I started to realize is, when you just do like a sale, you try to sell somebody to do something, and you don't have context behind what you're talking about. So, for example, I went to court the other day, right? I'm in court, and as I'm in court, talking to a lawyer, the person I am talking for myself in this point, right? The other person has a lawyer. I started talking logical shit. You know what I'm saying? I started making logical sense. And then when I was being logical, everyone started looking at me like, damn, this motherfucker's making sense. It was a family court matter or something to do with my daughter, right? I ended up winning the court outcome, but I started thinking like, how the fuck did I do that? Because I'm starting thinking to myself, how the fuck did I do this situation? Like, how did I get to this situation? This is a lawyer, nigga, and I just basically whooped the lawyer's ass, right?
Nah, but you be having like a microphone.
So then I started thinking to myself, I started breaking this shit down. And I started thinking to myself, all right, there's been a book that I've been reading about sales. It basically says it's called the straight line sales method, which means there's a straight line from here to here, right? And I started rethinking of it as, how do you influence? Basically, this line right here is reality, right? I started thinking about it like this. Okay, now let's say, for example, I want to influence you to believe what I want to believe. I'm going to use logic by telling you, hey, look, if you run into the street, a car's going to hit you. Right? Now, what makes people not believe you is biases, right? Each person is born being a little biased. And the more that you believe into this bias situation and you don't live in reality, the more that people are not going to believe you, or you're not going to be able to influence them. So, for example, let's say that here's reality, and you're just a little biased, or you're a lot biased. Let's say that you're a sureño, and let's say that you're a gang member or whatever, and you're listening to, or let's say you're listening to a guy rapping that's your op or something, right? Let's say that he's good at rapping, but you just can't say it because you're biased. Well, then somebody that's not gang related would not believe you. You wouldn't have influence over him because you don't live in reality, which is that straight line, right? A lot of people are delusional. Delusional people cannot influence people because they don't live with logic. They work with their feelings. So if I'm like, sometimes you can have a conversation with somebody, point out all the logical reasons, and then afterwards they'll do the same shit again because they don't work with logic. They're delusional. They work with emotions. That person cannot influence people because we live in reality. The closer you live to reality, like for example, if you're in your job, right, and you see somebody come up to you and ask you where you're from, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm from below. You're not gonna be like banging on him and shit, right? Because you're close to reality. That's a biases of things that influence his life that makes him now not be able to live in reality, so he can't influence regular people. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So when I realized that, I was like, holy shit, with this situation all you have to be is logical and you can influence anybody. But if you let your bias side take control and people can see that, they will not let you influence them because they're gonna be like, this fool's not living in reality. He's like I said, this guy is a good rapper, but he's your op, and you say, oh fuck, I don't like him, but he's good at rapping. Then people will not take your opinion on rap as good anymore because they're gonna be like, oh, that guy's biased. See what I'm saying? So the closer you are, or let's say for example, there's some guy and you don't like him, but there's something that he's doing that's actually okay. You're able to take your personal feelings out of the situation and look at it for what it is reality. So the least biased that you are, the more influence you're going to have over people because you can always use logic and people will believe you because you're able to take your feelings out of the situation. And I learned that. I was like, holy shit. You said it
was a sales book?
No, the sales books first taught me to see that, but when I went to court and I was talking to the lawyer and the judge about this family court matter, that's when I realized, like, damn.
It's
about logic because the person I was going against is very delusional. You feel me? And when you're like that, no one can understand you. No one can understand where you're coming from because nothing you're saying makes sense. But when you're a logical person and you're closer to the line of reality, you can influence anybody. So let's say I'm trying to sell you something, right?
Does it make sense?
And let's say I come to you and tell you, hey, so I know you want to get this done. How serious are you about getting this done? Well, then you would say something like, "Oh, well, I'm not really serious." Well, if you're not really serious, what am I here for then? Then now you feel kind of like, you know what I'm saying? I'm living in logic, bro. Why did you call me over here if you're not serious about this? So it's either gonna make him stand up and say something like, "Well, I am serious." Well, I'm glad you're serious. Then let's get going now. Now I know you're serious, so now I know you're gonna close this deal today. You see what I'm saying? You're either using this logic with him, but I'm living logically. Now, if you just told me that you were gonna do it, and we get down to the line, and you don't want to end up buying what I'm selling, then you were not telling the truth. You were not being logical. You see what I'm saying? So that's when I was like, damn, that's powerful, bro. Because you can use, that's why you're so influential. because not anybody could do your job or influence people, because if they had some straight guy that was biased as fuck, he probably wouldn't be in your position. He'd probably be lower level. He couldn't get there. And the fact that you're unbiased in certain situations has got you to the point where you can influence regular people because you are closer to reality. You see what I'm saying? That's some crazy shit though, no?
I get what you're saying. Yeah, because sometimes like it's like what you're saying. Like when you're speaking to people, and it basically if you're trying to persuade them or influence people, whatever, you never want to be the person that looks like you're acting on emotion unless that emotion is something that they can relate to. So if you're talking to a bunch of people who give a fuck about their job and you know that all of these people have families, then you use that in the conversation. But like, what do we do this shit for?
The what?
For our families. That's why we all got families. We're here to fucking come over here and get this money and make shit happen. You know what I'm saying? We got mouths to feed. You know, if you know that maybe some of these people ain't got families, you know, you're like, man, you know, we got bills to pay. You know, that's why we're here. That's why we got a job. You know, you accepted a job. You know, it's time to get dirty. Don't start walking away every time you get some dirt on your shirt to wipe it off. We gonna get dirty today, bro. We gonna be shoveling out concrete and dirt. You know what I'm saying? And then that just kind of like...
you're being logical.
You're being logical and you're trying to touch on
their perception.
You're trying to touch on the same basis.
That is the truth. You couldn't say, oh, what are we doing this shit to go fuck bitches and hit the strip club? I mean, that's only going to go so far. Nobody fucking lives for shit. I mean, some people live for that shit.
Some people live for it, but
most of the majority, nah.
I think people that are like on drugs and shit, that's the people that live for that shit.
Yeah, the motherfuckers that come to work all sleepy and shit, fucking still got they sandals on and even in they fucking work boots and shit, motherfuckers.
The motherfuckers that are tripping.
Those are the guys that are always fucking up, dog.
What keeps you focused?
A goal.
And how do you stay on that goal and that purpose, focused on that?
So you got a goal. It's like, to me, like, you have to want what you're working towards. You need to have a goal for anything, right? So you, like, with me, I started gaining a little bit of weight again. I went to Mexico last year. I gained 15 pounds, and it was hard for me to get that shit off.
Goddamn, in that little time?
Yeah,
yes.
dog, God. So I was eating the tacos.
Yeah, tacos, bread, all that shit, dog. So I came back here. I was trying everything. I'm over here, and I'm actively trying to figure this shit out, but I never gave up. I'm not like... I have a goal in my mind. I have a number in my head. I was like 250. That's my number. That's what I want to get to.
Yes,
so I went back up to fucking 287. So I'm all like, all right, I tried everything. Started doing these different diets, but I'm actively trying to pursue this goal by different methods. I'm not trying to go back to older methods because I want to see what other options I have.
Yeah.
I try all these different things. They don't work. I try like doing the gram of protein per pound of whatever your goal weight is and shit like that. Watching my carbs, watching my calories, counting my macros, whatever. And I was like, you know what? I need to stop fucking around and do what actually worked for me before.
So, that's a word, yeah.
So what was that?
Keto. So I went back on keto and I already lost 15 pounds.
That shit's harsh, my boy. I did that shit. I did that shit. I don't know. It's 'cause I got that heartburn, right? But that shit, it does make you feel hella different, though. It does make you feel hella...
and you gotta be on it. Like, keto is like... It's a very restrictive diet, and it's something that you have to be on. So I'm doing that, and then I'm doing 16 hours of fasting as well.
16 hours? What?
Yeah.
Like fucking 2...
So I stop eating at 6, and I don't eat again 6 p.m., and I don't eat again until 10 a.m. the next day. So... by the time it's 10 a.m., I have from 10 to 6 to eat, so I have an 8-hour window. But I'm keeping a goal in my mind. And I've actually already made up my mind. I'm just going to make this a way of life because I feel better. I have mental clarity. So
it makes you feel hella more mental clarity.
Yeah, mental clarity, because when I was doing everything else, sometimes I wake up and my mind will be fogged, and like I'll still do what I got to do, but sometimes I won't be feeling it.
What's the diet on that though? Like how do you measure out the proportion so it can be keto diet? 'Cause I know if you switch it up a little bit, then it turns out to a regular diet, shit like that.
Well, I use my Fitness Pal, dog. I can't.
I use it too.
Keto is kind of hard to pinpoint exactly your the percentages of what you're supposed to be eating. I'm pretty sure there's people that can do it, but with me, I use MyFitnessPal. So I paid $20 a month, so that way I can manipulate my own goal, and I was able to change my goal of, instead of what the nutrition app is telling you what you should be eating, I was able to tell it like, hey, I want 75% of fat, I want 20% of protein, I want 5% carbs, and I want 0% sugar. So when I start inputting my fucking foods that I'm eating, the app will tell me like, hey, you know, you're reaching this, get ready to stop eating that, or hey, this is not within your diet or whatever.
Damn. What type of foods do you eat though?
It's a lot of meat.
Protein?
Well, it's meat that's like high in fat. So like chicken is high in fat, turkey's high in fat, but it's also high in protein.
High in protein. Mm-hmm. Do you eat like fatty foods, like I would say like fish or no?
Tilapia,
Fish.
yeah, tilapia, salmon. And then I got this little bottle. It's called MCT oil, and it's basically it's pure. It's like it's concentrated fat, but it's fat that's supposed to help your body kick into ketosis.
Omega 3s.
I take a shot of that every day, fool.
It's crazy that you say that because I just barely learned that myself today. So what you just said, so basically said sometimes you gotta go back to your old shit instead of trying the new shit. What happened to me for is like, okay, so we're trying to revamp the business because we took a big ass dip, and I'm not gonna lie, bro, it was difficult, and I just redid everything. I'm like, all right, we're gonna try everything new, and a lot of the stuff we were doing was working, right? But then we were changing up certain things that shouldn't be changed, and one of my mentors, he told me, hey, look, when you're taking risks and business is not going well, remove all risks that you're taking and go back to what you know. Don't start no new shit. Don't start experimenting with shit for example, you're not in the situation to be experimenting because you were over your weight, right? If you're gonna be experimenting with new diets and shit like that, you do that when you're under your weight. You see what I'm saying? And then you're like, oh, okay, but you don't want to do it at that point because you're gonna go away. So, for example, me, I was experimenting with new sales strategies when I shouldn't have been doing it, bro. And I was and then Juanito, he's like, hey, bro, why don't you just go back to the old sales method? And then, because we had an issue where the leads were slowing down, and we ended up redoing all the leads. Not them, but we had a new strategy for that. We blew everything up. But in the end, Juanito was like, look, bro, just go back to the old sales strategy. You're experimenting with some new shit that we shouldn't do right now. That type of shit you do.
Because what I was thinking like, all right, shit was going a little left.
No, let me finish my point, dog.
All right, you're gonna go ahead.
So when I was
right now,
my situation was, I remember what this guy had told me. He said, whenever you're gonna change something up, do it in the winter time when nothing's really cracking, right? And then you can get ready for the on season when it's on season. So it translated in my head like this: experiment with new plays when you're doing practice time, not in the fourth quarter. You feel me? So get all your practice time in, your experiment time, but when you're out here really doing it and it counts, go to what has proven to work. You know what I'm saying?
What I was gonna say is because what we were talking about is
you were gonna talk about how you came up with the idea of telling me that.
I was gonna say how we even got to that subject.
Exactly.
Is because we're talking and we're like, fuck, this shit's not working, and I'm like, damn, we're both saying like, what's going on? I'm like, shit, it must be one, the reviews, two, the fucking or it might be the economy, because they said it was supposed to be a recession, shit like that. But I looked up the other night and it said that
we don't gotta get into super detail.
Okay, but I'm gonna run through this fast. They said that we're not in a recession, we're not close to a recession, that the economy is resilient. So then I'm like, boom, that's one out of the way. So it's not the economy. So then from there, I was thinking like what you said, what has worked for us in the past? Like I'm thinking, what the hell was different? And then we came up with like, why don't we just go back to the old sales method? And it was working for us. And this fool, like always, me and this fool go back and forth. He's like, why? No, we have to go to the new sales method. No, fuck that. We have to go full force. I'm like, we're gonna go full fucking force until what? Till you go bankrupt? No. If something's not working, but this is a good question. This is good. I was thinking the same thing too. When is it enough? How much times do you have to try something till you know this is not working? A lot of people don't know that.
Nah. So what I was thinking, first of all, was, you never want to half-ass some shit. Mm-hmm. When you start something, you want to finish it. So my point was like, let's go all the way with it, and then if it doesn't work, let's backtrack. But I was forgetting one major thing: experiment when you're supposed to experiment. Like, do your new plays at the practice time, not in the final quarter when it matters. So that's when I'm like, okay, yeah, this fool's fucking right. We shouldn't do that. And since we stopped doing that, shit started going a lot better in business. But you know, I mean, that's how I feel about that situation. But going back to what I originally asked you about the distractions, right? Mm-hmm. One of the things that I've noticed that I was so fucked, like that would really mess my mind up, and this is why you got to be careful about the people you keep around you. Distractions, bro. They're doing stuff that doesn't interest me and that stuff that I can't do. Hey, let's go to the club. Hey, let's go out and get some drinks. Hey, let's go do this. Let's go do that. Bro, I'm on a mission, bro. I have a purpose, and for me to complete my goals, I have to stay focused. And for me to stay focused, the main thing you have to do, it's fucked up thing to do, but you have to learn to say no. You got to learn to not be always having that homie's back that wants to go to the club, not always wanting to be down to hang out, not always being down to drink, not always being down to kick it. You have to be sometimes to the point where you gotta say, I can't. And to be honest, people say that it's not really what you say yes to that's gonna get you where you wanna go. It's the things that you say no to. And most of the things that you are able and brave enough to be like, look, I understand that you want me to do these things, but I cannot. And you know what? You're never missing out. People think that they're missing out on things when they say no. No. You're not missing out when you're building up to where you're trying to go. Because in the long run, these people are going to end up going down the wrong path. And you're so focused on where you're going that by the time that you can see where everything ends, you're going to be happy where you're at. You're not missing out if you're building yourself up and you're building an empire for yourself instead of saying no to these people. And once you realize that, it's easy. No. And I'm doing, this is what I'm doing right now, especially since I've had to like take care of my daughter, full custody of her. I've had to say no to a lot of people, you know, that I didn't used to say no to, but it's like, when you have that responsibility, bro, you have to say, hey, look, man, I can't do that this weekend. I have to do this. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's just part of growing up. That's part of becoming like an adult.
Some people never do. So I think,
you're right. Some people never do, but it's having,
because you can be young and still adopt this, and still if you can adopt this at a younger age, right? Because it has nothing to do with age. If you're like 15 and you learn this type of shit, there's some little guys that listen, some younger dudes that listen to this, and they do it at a younger age. They'll get wherever they're trying to go to faster,
sooner. Yep.
So it's not really age. It's like sometimes people don't tell you this. Because what are we raised up really when we're younger? We're raised to raise our hands for everything. Mm-hmm. Hey, who's going to do this? Me. Hey, who's down to do this? Me. Hey, you want to be a pleaser, right? But we're not really taught to say no. And if you say no, you're looked at bad. Hey, I don't want to go out. Hey, I don't want to do this. Yes.
Yeah.
But so we're really taught the opposite of what you're supposed to do to get your goals, and then they'll be like, oh, well, he don't want to come out. He don't want to come out and do nothing. He don't want to. Yeah, well, that's why he's in prison now.
Don't want to take that's
why now the whole boy's probably not, you know, he's not here with us anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, we're not taught to say no and focus on our goals that we're trying to achieve. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big thing that I had to realize recently. If I would have realized this a long time ago, I think I'd be a lot further in my goals. You know, all of us really though.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I mean, at the same time, that's kind of like Well, you're talking about influence. That's like dealing with people who are trying to influence you. You have to know when those people are actually trying to influence you, either in a, or what you would say,
manipulate or influence.
Manipulate or influence. So, with you being the influencer or manipulator or whatever you want to call it, you know, you got to respect that there's people that are, you feel me? They got the gift of gab. They might know how to manipulate you or influence you without you even knowing. So you got to know how to spot that shit as well.
They have talent for it already.
No, that's true, and you got to be strong enough. But this is where you always stay true to the course. Follow your goals. If it takes you off the course of your goals, say no. And this is how you'll start to see who are the people that are going to take you off that course. You see what I'm saying? I didn't see it until I started having a clear vision of what I needed to get done, and that's when I'm like, no. Nah, you gotta have a goal. You gotta have a motherfucking goal. If you don't have a goal, if you're just like, oh, I want to do good, or like I want to get rich, or I want to get fit, or just something, and you're like going about it with no goal and just like doing whatever you see, but with like you don't have a target that you're trying to hit. You're just wasting time. You're procrastinating. You're wasting time, because at the end of the day, a lot of people don't know this. But if there's an issue that you have in your life and you just sit down and think about that issue, you will come up with the solution. That's exactly what I was saying.
The solution is not going to be something that you want to do. So then people choose not to do it, and then they choose to blame it on other situations or other circumstances or things around them. But deep down inside, motherfuckers know. You know what you're not doing. You know what you're supposed to do.
You just don't have the courage, and you don't have the balls to fucking do it. That's some real ass shit.
Motherfuckers gotta do that.
I was fucked up like that for a
discipline.
minute.
They don't got the discipline. That shit takes hell discipline.
Yeah, it's like when I started keto, right? When I kick-started it, I knew I had to stop drinking, but I did not want to stop drinking. But I was like, motherfucker, I need to stop drinking. I could go through the week without drinking. It's cool. But when it's real, when it's time to really test me, it's the weekend, dog. Weekend pops up, motherfucker. I'm over here like, I'm getting anxious. I'm all like, oh man. I was like, why do I feel? Why do I feel this way? It's because I want to like drink. I was making myself always ready to drink on that 5th, 6th, 7th day of the week. So I had to get myself out of it. I got myself out of it. I didn't drink for a month. So I kicked myself into keto. So I got into keto, fasting, and I stopped drinking all at the same time. So I'm drinking now, but I'm more in control of my drinking. I'm not drinking because like I know I really need it. Now I'm just drinking to enjoy myself.
At what point do you decide that you need to stop doing something
you
and
stop
switch
it
over?
completely?
Say that again. What'd you say?
At what point do you decide that you need to stop doing something and switch over to something else? And when you do that, how do you do it?
When you need to stop something?
At what point do you decide I need to stop this? This is not working, and then you gotta try something different. And when you try something different, how do you transition? How did you realize that the other diets were not working? At what point did that come to your mind?
Because there's a point where you realize you're not gaining. You have to be keeping track of what you're doing, and then understand that you're getting nowhere. Numbers usually are.
You're tracking your numbers.
Everything. Tracking your numbers. Like me, I step on a scale every Monday, every Friday. So I can see the numbers. I see what's going on.
I do it every day. But
When I see things changing, then I ask myself, what did I do through that time? So if I weigh myself on Friday and I'm 274, and I fucking weigh myself on Monday and I'm fucking like 4 pounds heavier, it's most likely because I did heavy ass drinking, not watching what I was eating, not sticking to my diet, and I know that that's the reason. You know what I'm saying? So I would say that just know you need to be able to be conscious of your environment and your situation and your lifestyle. You can't have this pair of glasses to where you're just like blocking out certain things that you don't want to acknowledge. You have to be ready to acknowledge all the issues and be ready to cut the shit out when you know the shit ain't working for you.
I think
know what I'm saying?
My personal thing is I'll change something up when I know that I have a goal and I have a deadline, and I'm trying to reach this goal, and I know that I have super focus, right? So you're focused. There's no distractions. You're focused on this thing, and you're probably not going to hit the goal at that amount of time that you want to hit it at. At that point, I start to say, okay, I'm consuming what. Let's say me it's like knowledge, right? So let's say, for example, you would be like, I'm consuming this food, right? And I'm using the food to get myself to this weight, and that's my goal. But I'm trying to have this goal reach at this time, and I keep pushing the goalpost back or something like that. At that point, it's like, okay, this is not gonna work. For me, it's like, hey, I'm super focused, so it's not a distraction issue. Mm-hmm. I'm learning as fast as I can learn, right? I'm trying to reach the goal by this time, and if I can't reach the goal at the time that I'm trying to reach it by, and I know it's gonna be too late, then I give myself a marker. All right, I got 1 more week or 2 more weeks to do this. It's not me, and it's not me learning the situation. It's just taking too long, and by this time I'm gonna fail. So then I'll transition to something else. Mm-hmm. When I transition to something else, like what happened, right? We had a goal, something that we needed to get done. It wasn't working, and then we said, hey, look, that's when you're coming back to the drawing board, and you're like, look, let's just go back to the old shit and keep everything that's been working, and then let's get to where we need to get to. So that's kind of like what I think, how I put a goal up and how I transition to something else, but I do it slowly. So let's say if I know something's not going my way.
What if you do it too slowly?
That's what I'm saying. No. So when I mean slowly, I mean like this. Let's say if you're doing too slow, it means you're distracted. So if you're not able to
if you move too slow to actually change to what's going on,
you're distracted. Okay, so look, a lot of situations where we got fucked over in the business and we took a dip is because we were distracted by life, by going out, by doing a lot of stuff we're not supposed to do. But once you're focused, you can tell if everything you're doing is focused, right? And you're not going to be able to reach your goals already just from looking at your trajectory. Then you have to start to transition. So then you'll say something like, okay, I'll give it a week, 1 more week of me learning the situation, seeing if I can apply it, see what the results are. But if I don't learn it by this week, while I'm waiting, if I have other, like, let's say, for example, you had a bunch of, like, okay, for example, let's say you're doing keto, right? Mm-hmm. And you're on keto. And then let's say, for example, you want to lose 20 pounds in a month. Like, let's say you have to lose the 20 pounds. And you're like, damn, I don't think I'm going to make it by 20 pounds in a month. You know what I'm saying?
20 pounds in a month is hella unhealthy.
I know, but I'm just saying, putting it out there, right?
I already know what I would have to do.
No, but my point is this. Then you say
crack. No.
Hey, this was too. I thought about that shit one time already.
Hell no.
No, but what I'm saying is, at that point, right? You'd say, all right, halfway through this shit, if I'm not already at 10 pounds halfway, then I know it doesn't make sense. But by then, you'd probably have options already that you're gathering, and I'll put them aside. I'm like, okay, bam, I'm learning different options. Bam, it's time. All right, this shit is not working. Now let me take and now this is where a lot of people fuck up. See, what happens is when people can't reach their goals or they don't know what they're doing, they feel hopeless.
Yep.
You feel hopeless. The reason that you always conquer hopelessness is by getting knowledge, getting information. Once you have information, then they have anxiety because they don't know what options to choose. That's a real issue. Mm-hmm. So I started figuring this out. And I'm like, okay, if I feel hopeless, it's because there's information out there that I don't know. So I'll start reading books on the subject or whatever it is. Then once I have the options, I'll lay them out in front of me. And then what you do when you have these options, you get anxious because you don't know what to do. Easy. What you do is you number all your options from 1 to the end, and you go from the fastest option to the reason you do that is because if you come from the fastest option to do, then it doesn't work. You can find out really quick that it didn't work, and you can move on to the next one, right? And then at the end, if you have to do the next choice, you already tried everything else, right? Mm-hmm. So then you're like, okay, I got no other option but this. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's how a lot of people make choices, and that's how you feel hopeless sometimes, is because you don't know. Go out, get some knowledge. Then you have your knowledge. You're gonna feel anxious. Number your options from the fastest to the least one, and then at the end, you ain't got no choice but to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of people can remove anxiety from their life. And that's how a lot of people can remove hopelessness from their life. And that shit fucks with a lot of people. Because they don't know how to get rid of these things because they've never been taught this shit. That shit happened to me. I'll be sitting down sometimes and I'll feel hopeless. And I'm like, damn, I don't know what to do.
Read a fucking book. Read some books on the subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, I swear to God.
Yeah, nah. I mean, to be honest, I mean, look, when you... with me, I've always been a big dude. I've always been big, but I was bigger. And I, like... There's just a point where something snapped and I was like, man, I need to do something about this shit. Like right now, like recently when I had back on my keto shit, I feel so good about myself. I feel more confident. I feel proud of myself. I know I'm more disciplined now. Even though I was working out and doing everything else that I was doing, this is that one little thing that was nicking at me in the back. And yeah, I was feeling a little bit of hopelessness where I'm all like, I'm trying all these fucking diets and they're not fucking working. What the fuck is going on? And then even with those other diets, I stopped drinking.
Yeah.
I tried doing that within it, and the shit was just hard. It wasn't working. It's so hard to keep up. And I think it has something to do with my genetics. But then after I seen that a bunch of shit wasn't working, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go back to what was working because at least I gave everything else a chance. You know what I'm saying? And then I went back to what was working, immediately started seeing results. I'm getting stronger again. Like everything that I wanted, I'm getting because I chose not to be too ignorant and be like, well, I already did that. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to try something new. Sometimes you just, like, if the shit was working and you tried everything else, do the shit. Don't let yourself, don't get in the way of yourself. Like, because I could have been like, nah, I ain't doing keto because I don't like it. So fucking what if you don't like it? Sometimes the things you got to do that are good for you are things that you don't like to do, dog.
The thing is with keto is learning how to even get into ketosis. That's the main thing.
It's the hardest thing.
That's what
starting. Is the first thing.
That's what I'm saying. After that, it's just doing. First, you have to plan it out, stuff like that. After you already know the thing, it's actually doing it. Action.
It's kind of hard to explain to people when motherfuckers want to get on keto and they want to ask me like what it's about, and I tell them the percentages and shit like that. They're just like, oh man, that sounds like a lot. I'm like, it sounds like a lot, dog, but it's really not. You just need to get this fucking app. Even if you have it for free, you could just go ahead and fucking start putting it in there.
I fuck with it. The only thing is that I need to learn how to fuck with it a little bit more.
I'm kind of stuck in the same, not stuck, but I kind of understand a lot what you're talking about when you say it's a lifestyle after a certain point. And I'm to the point where I don't even look at food, to be honest, where it's appealing. I just look at it like it's fuel. And what I do is I just eat 2 pounds of ground beef every day. That's it. And then maybe like I drink some water and stuff like that. And then I'll put like maybe some chile in it or something, like a straight chile, and eat it like that. But to be honest, that's what I eat every day, and I feel like hella like better that way, and I feel more like liberated to the point where I don't feel like I don't go to no fucking fast food.
You get your protein out the way, and then from there,
my shit is done, bro. Yeah. I'm out here looking.
Cause I fool Elon Musk said the same thing too. He's like, look, if I could get like just like something just to give me all my nutrients for the day, so I don't even have to eat no more. That would be the best thing. I think that would be like the number one thing that somebody said.
Elon Musk look like a slug, dog.
Hey, then he said that motherfucker doesn't even want to eat, bro. He said it. He's like, look, if someone could invent some shit that just like I could get all my nutrients and through IV or something and go back to work, that would be the best invention. I'm telling you guys, somebody invent this. Because he really wants that shit. Nobody wants to waste time.
Weren't they saying that
you have to enjoy your food? Come on, fool. You can't be.
I mean, I don't. I really. I mean.
Hey, what the fuck are the peppers? You said yes, throw some peppers on it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like if I really wanted to enjoy my food, I would go get like a fucking burrito or some shit or something like that.
Yeah, but you're still not gonna eat no nasty ass shit. Like you have to put a little bit of.
I don't eat it for enjoyment. I eat it for fuel. You know what I'm saying?
For the clarity of mind, to feel good and to get what your goal wants to go. I know what you're saying, but you still have to have a little flavor in there.
Yeah, but my purpose of eating it is if I was eating for because I wanted it to taste good, I'd eat a burrito. My purpose of eating it is just for nutrients.
Nah, I know.
For fuel.
Shit. If you eat hella fucking healthy and you just eat like Taco Bell for like once a month or some shit, you'll look at that Taco Bell hella different. But eating healthy, you have to be strict, my boy. You have to be strict, and yeah, it's fucking discipline, my boy. A lot of motherfuckers are not disciplined like that.
That's facts.
I would say, look.
Then better cut this motherfucking
Oh,
short.
is it cut off for
Got
it?
that time.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can.
Okay.
So we'll be back with another one, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, and hope everybody's doing good out there. Stay safe but dangerous, and we'll be back with another one. It's never enough game.
Yeah.
All right, we out.
All right, man. We gone.
Head to your back, and you know where we at. Got the thing in my grass, and we living life fast. And I put that on the dub, motherfuckers can't hang. What you want?